Hello my friends, and welcome back to Sweet Magnolias. Today I'm going to be doing my Christmas home tour. I decided to do this with a voiceover for you guys so that I could really focus on all of my Christmas details. This year, instead of going for a more minimal look, I went with a more traditional, vintage, and handmade look. So I'm going to start by talking about our tree. We do get a real tree every year. That is something that we have done ever since we got married, was to get a real tree. I just love the idea of going and picking out your own real tree, and it smells so good in my house. So what I did, I tried to stay very simple, I guess you would say, with my ornaments. I did not do any breakable ornaments this year because I have an almost 1-year-old. He'll be 1 next week, and he's very curious about the tree. So I stuck with all non-breakable ornaments. I do have a lot of vintage ornaments that I did not use because they're delicate, but I did pull out my wooden vintage ornaments that I got, I believe, at a yard sale years ago, and they just look like little vintage toys, and they're just so sweet. And then I also used some dried oranges. All of the dried oranges you'll see today in this video were all dried last year. They do keep. I made a popcorn and cranberry chain, which you guys saw in another video. No, I did not dehydrate my cranberries ahead of time. You can do that and they hold their color better, but these will just naturally dry out. They just won't look as pretty, but I don't have a dehydrator, so I didn't worry about that. But all of my ornaments are either vintage, or the little sparkly ones I think came from the Dollar Tree. And then I had a few that were gifted to me, wooden and metals. That's what I tried to stick with as far as the non-breakables. A couple of them were plastic as well. So that is what I tried to stick with the ornaments. And then I also just added some tinsel garland and also some gold beads. And we went with gold lights simply because all of our colored lights were burned out. And I've literally changed the lights on this tree 3 times because they keep burning out. So at this point, if it goes away, it's just going to be what it's going to be. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. So in this little nook, I just added little touches of Christmas. I didn't do a whole lot. I swapped out some of the wall art, but the main thing was the pine cones and then this sweet little Norman Rockwell Christmas ornament. It stands freestanding like a frame, and it has a little light above it as well. It's the sweetest thing. And then I just put these scented pine cones that I bought last year from Walmart. I just put them on this table just to add a little bit of that Christmas and winter feel. And then I just had some Christmas colors. This shelf is probably my favorite spot to decorate seasonally, and especially at Christmas. So what I did here was I pulled out my Currier and Ives tray. I've had this tray forever. I don't have a seasonal print to hang above the shelf for winter or for Christmas. Eventually I want to get a Saturday Evening Post photo printed in a poster size, but I don't have that right now. So I've got my Currier and Ives. I have this sweet vintage angel. I have a thing for vintage angels. And then these little deer salt and pepper shakers are not vintage, but they look very vintage, so I like to put them out. They have little Santa hats on them, and they're so cute. And then I added a drippy candle that I keep out all year, not just at Christmas time, and I just love it. And then I have my reindeer, which I actually got secondhand. Somebody gave me a bunch of stuff they were getting rid of, and I think they're really pretty and sleek, and they look really nice in front of the tray, I think. And I just have a few more pine cones, and then I have a little ceramic that I got from a local thrift store last year, and she is so cute. You'll see in just a second. She says Almost Christmas at the bottom. She's carrying a little Christmas wreath. I just think it's the sweetest thing in the world. I love this piece so much. And then you guys can see I have another vintage angel here as well. I collect those. If I find them, I have to buy them. So I don't have a lot going on over on the desk, but I did want to have a prominent place to put my little nutcrackers. I've had these since I was a little girl, and they're very special to me, so I like having a specific place for them. So I'm so excited to be able to decorate the piano for Christmas this year. You guys know, if you've been watching my vlogs, that we recently moved the piano to the living room, and I love it here. It's like an entryway table, only it's prettier because it's a piano, and instruments are just so beautiful, and they add so much character and almost storytelling to a home. So I love that it's a focal point in our living room. And so what I did with our piano is I just strung some bead garland over it just to give it that Christmas magic touch. And then I added more candles. I love candles. The fake valance I actually got from a local store, and it's one of the flickering battery power candles, and I love it. It's one of my absolute favorites. The black candlesticks were actually Dollar Tree crystal or Dollar Tree glass candlesticks that I spray painted. And then in the middle I have two more beautiful sweet vintage angels that I had found. I had to repair their little skirts last year because they got messed up out in the building, but they are absolutely darling little angels and I love them so much. And then in between those I have this little Merry Christmas shoe that I bought from another local boutique, and it is vintage, and it is just the most vintage Christmas thing I can think of. And then over the piano I hung our stockings, which is cool because I've never had a place to hang them before. Moving to my kitchen, I don't have a crazy lot of Christmas stuff in here. I struggle between trying to find the balance of touches of Christmas and then looking like Christmas threw up in your house. So I tried to just do little touches. These are just some beautiful things that I already had. The candlestick, the crystal candlesticks were a wedding gift. The salt and pepper shakers are actually vintage, and I need to give those to my mother-in-law because she bought them from me and I just haven't had time to give them to her. But they were really cute for this video. And then the tray is also a painted vintage tray, and it's not Christmas at all, but I just loved the contrast of the dark and then the bright colors and the flowers. And to me the table just looks fancy, and fancy is festive. Here I have my little handkerchief angel hanging between the windows. And then I have my hutch, which I always do Christmas stuff in. Some years I do more stuff in here than others, but I just have my little snowman teapot that I love so much. I think I got him from a thrift store and I just couldn't leave him behind. And then I have some Norman Rockwell plates. If you don't know, I love Norman Rockwell's paintings, and I have a lot of his collectible plates and pictures and things. Here I have some candlestick crocheted, knitted, I don't know how to describe these, but they stand up by putting a toilet paper roll in them, and I believe they're crocheted, and my great-great-grandmother made these, so these are very old, and I put them out every year, and I just love the pops of red, and I think it ties in really nicely with the red bird. Here on the bottom I have another Norman Rockwell plate, and then I have this thrifted red candy dish with some more of those pine cones. That was one bag of pine cones. It went a long way. And then I have my Christmas mouse. And then over the stove I didn't do anything too major. I left the copper teapot because I just think it's very enchanting. But the only thing Christmas that I added here was this sweet crocheted Christmas angel. I think she is just so precious, and I believe her to be handmade. I could be wrong. Somebody gave her to me in a bunch of Christmas stuff they were getting rid of. But I believe her to be homemade, and I just think she makes, I don't know, she just makes me so happy sitting up there. As far as my counters, I didn't do much in the way of Christmas except to hang some dried oranges up. And then on the opposite side of the counters, I just added one more angel. I had another one of those homemade crocheted angels. And so I just put her in the little heart basket. And that's all the Christmas that I had on my countertops. Okay, that's going to be it for this Christmas home tour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also to give this video a thumbs up. And I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.